Hey, I'm going to be talking about why your co parenting relationship is off the rails and what you can do to fix it quickly. I'm Terry Vanover, and I've helped hundreds of divorcing clients create a healthy, happy co parenting relationship and find inner peace after divorce has left you devastated. So, one of the things that is really important to know is how much it matters that your co parenting relationship means to your kids. I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in our own pain and our own anger and our own bitterness that we forget that, man, our little ones have to deal with the aftermath or the current math of what is going on right now. And, a great example of this is my son said to me, he said to me last night, we're going through some transition and some challenges in our family. And he said to me, he says, Mom, I'm so glad you and Dad communicate. I'm so glad you guys don't fight after the divorce. And I thought about it because, he was talking about how his friends who are divorced, they don't have this relationship. They don't have a relationship like my ex and I, where we support each other, we communicate, there's no animosity. We love and care about each other because when we support each other, we're supporting the kids. And listen, I'm not saying that there aren't some high conflict people out there. I get it. But you can make things better by you showing up as a better version of yourself and a more aligned version of yourself. Your kid will still feel safe and still feel secure. And there are some things that can completely change the trajectory of your co parenting relationship. And that's the key there. There is the key. You have to understand that you have more control and you have more in your power than you realize. So you've got to stop blaming your ex. You've got to start taking accountability for how you're showing up in the relationship. If the co parenting relationship is toxic, you got to take a look at yourself and say, how am I bringing in toxicity into this? What am I doing? Where do I need to look very closely at how I'm showing up? Because when you show up differently in your relationship with your ex, they show up differently. Trust me, trust me. If you haven't watched some of my past videos where I've talked about clients who've completely shifted their dynamic from super high conflict, super high anxiety to going on vacations together. And I had a very high conflict divorce myself. So it isn't impossible. You've just got to be willing to look at how you're showing up in that relationship. And remember, when you show up differently, how they respond and react is different too. It's a dynamic. Believe me, believe me, believe me. It is so possible. That's the critical takeaway, is for you to show up differently. Might take a little time for them to respond, right? Because if you've been locked in those dynamics, it might be a little leery at first, but it's so possible. I've seen it happen. I really honestly have. So, probably what's happening, why it's not shifting as quickly as you want, you're probably making these mistakes. The biggest mistakes that I see people make, like I said, is blaming their ex, also not doing the inner work and understanding how they're triggered and how they're bringing their own traumas, their own responses, their own baggage into the current relationship. They haven't let go of the past and they're bringing that into the current relationship. And the third mistake that I see people making is using the same communication strategies that got you divorced in the first place, using those in the current co parenting relationship. The same shitty communication that you had in the marriage is what's ruining the relationship now. You have to create new communication strategies. You're going to have to communicate differently. And again, you have to be the one. Your kids are worth it. Your kids are worth doing the work. Trust me on this. And when you start using different communication strategies and understanding your own communication triggers and your own, you know, uh, pitfalls and you know, those things that derail your communication, when you understand that and you shift the pattern, then you start uh, shifting the whole relationship. You know, I had one client, and he had a very high conflict ex, I would say, but he was determined for his son. He was going to shift things around, and he knew she wasn't going to take responsibility. She wasn't going to take responsibility in the marriage. She wasn't going to change then. She's not going to change now. So he took the ball. He decided, I'm not going to, you know, use our old patterns. I'm going to break the patterns. I'm not going to fall for this little game. She had this certain way of doing things that would oftentimes get him off and get him on a tangent. And he's like, I'm no longer going to do that anymore. I'm going to show up differently. I'm not going to respond to that. Then I'm going to regroup, and I'm going to do this, this, and this. And guess what? They get along great now. She's not his wife anymore. He doesn't have to really, you know, do anything to please her anymore. It's really for his son. So he's a whole different mindset shift. And the shit that she does and all the games and stuff that she plays doesn't bother him anymore because he's done the inner work on himself. He knows she's not going to change, and that's okay. But their relationship, their co parenting relationship, has absolutely changed. And listen, he can do it. And if I've seen hundreds of other clients doing it, you can do it too. It's so possible. And let me tell you, it's so, so worth it. Your child is worth it. You know it. We can end this generational trauma. It ends with us. All right. So I have a free resource. If you want it, just shoot me a yes below, shoot me a DM, and I'm going to get it to you. We're going to give you the 3 keys to finding inner peace in the aftermath of divorce so that you can create an amazing co-parenting relationship. All right. So reach out to me, and I'd love to get you the details on that. And otherwise, have a fantastic day.